Hello, Power fans. It's Mathonical. Join me for round 3 with Oops All Instants. Our opening hand does have that Force Spike and we're on the draw, but it's pretty good. We'll likely end up cycling this Lonely Sandbar to find some additional action, so let's roll with it. Evolving Wilds could be anything so far, and we draw that Force Spike, so we're ready to counter anything that comes down next turn. Mountain and Swamp. Alright. Thermal Alchemist. This is probably some sort of new... possibly like a discard deck. I haven't played against too many of those, so it'll be pretty interesting. And here we are, we're in a pretty good spot. We're going to be able to have creatures if they don't do anything. If they're trying to play stuff, we're just going to Force Spike that. It's a good opportunity too. Alright, now we just start the draw go. If our opponent doesn't do anything, we're going to play this Pestermite. Probably going to die if they're not doing anything, and they're on red-black. Sure enough, yeah, there's a Terminate there. Might as well try and Spellstutter it to see what happens, and our opponent ends up Lightning Bolting the Pestermite. I think they would have been better off using the Lightning Bolt on the Spellstutter and killing both of our creatures, but that's only a small misplay, and they're able to remove our creature anyway. When they go for the Chainer's Edict, though, we're going to be able to repulse our Spellstutter just to get some additional value out of it, since there's nothing else to use that on at the moment. And now we're in a pretty good position here. Accumulated Knowledge, cycle a Lonely Sandbar. Now we've got a full hand. If our opponent doesn't do anything, we're just going to start playing some creatures. Thermal Alchemist, we definitely don't want that, so we're going to be able to exclude it. And here, we're just going to have to play this Augur of Bolas and discard to hand size. They terminate it. No point in really countering that. Condescend is, in my opinion, the weakest thing we have going on at the moment, and we are going to throw out one Spellstutter Sprite just to start getting in some damage. It also increases our fairy count. Alright. Get down the Glen Elendra, start getting in for the damage. Lightning Axe, I'm going to go ahead and use Spellstutter on that. It's almost guaranteed to counter it, and we do want to keep the pressure on. Our hand is just really good at the moment. Chainer's Edict, I don't mind that, so we'll just lose 1 damage a turn. Going to cast the Accumulated Knowledge. We even managed to pick up a Pestermite, so we're going to get that down. Cycle a Lonely Sandbar and keep jamming in. At this point, we're just completely set up. Since our opponent is down to 0 cards, we've got plenty of counter magic and additional pressure. So our opponent does concede there, and we're going to jump on over to game number 2. Looking at the sideboard, I'm still not entirely sure what they're on. With red and black, I'm expecting some amount of discard. I'm not too worried about the removal, and I've only really seen essentially some Thermal Alchemists. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in these Hydroblasts. Should be able to counter a lot of the things that are relevant, and I do expect the game to go a little bit on the longer side, so Force Spike is not going to be quite as good, and that's the only change I'm going to make. Looking at our opening hand, while it's not the most exciting, it is a solid keepable one. We just have to hope our opponent doesn't put too much pressure on us early. Swamp into Duress. Alright, well there goes our Exclude. I guess the discard has come in. Faithless Looting, yep, we don't have any way of interacting with that, so we're going to let that go. Here, since we only have a Think Twice to deal with, we're going to play the Augur of Bolas. Out of our options there, Counterspell is the one I wanted the most. Our opponent does go with a Divest, which gets rid of our Glen Elendra, and we end up drawing one of our Hydroblast to get rid of the Thermal Alchemist, and now we have counter magic available to get rid of this one. Our opponent does remove our creature, that's fine, although now we're in a bit of a top deck war where we have an Exclude to get rid of their next Thermal Alchemist. They're down to 0 cards. So at this point, we can think twice, literally. Our opponents did make their hand a little bit better with their Faithless Looting, but now we've got a Counterspell, we've got a Repulse, it's pretty good. Okay, Duress does hinder our plans a little bit. We're going to go ahead and use the Counterspell there just to not show the information. Drawing additional cards, we did find a Pestermite. Of course, they end up removing it. Still mainly a top deck war. Glen Elendra can help us get the pressure on. Duress, well, that's going to get rid of our last Repulse, and so we're just left with a 2-3. We now have a Spellstutter Sprite to back it up, and now a Condescend as well. We do have the mana advantage, so that does still play. Gonna just get in damage while we can. It's going to be interesting to see what our opponent pulls from here. Lonely Sandbar, cycle that. Can do that anytime, but I'm just going to do it main phase just in case we drew a land. Spell Stinkweed Imp. Alright, that could definitely start hindering what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is play the Pestermite and then play the Spellstutter Sprite to counter it this time. Next time I should be able to use the Condescend to get rid of it just fine. This way we get the maximum pressure on the board and try and win as quickly as possible. I am expecting them to dredge the Stinkweed Imp because it's a really good blocker with what we've got going on. And so I cast the Augur of Bolas, looking for counter magic. I do find Counterspell. Here though, I'm going to go ahead and use the Condescend since they are low enough on mana, and they do end up conceding there since we're going to be able to get in for 6 damage, put them to 1, and there's no way they can deal with everything. So we did manage to win that one, just grinding out the all the counter spells. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.